I'm gonna go ahead and teach everybody about options in space in Galaxy's Legends. The first thing I want to go over is the particle limit in graphics. Having this up a little bit, you're probably going to want to just up a little bit slightly. Otherwise, when you blow something up, you're not going to see any explosion. That's fine, but what you also won't notice is if you're hitting it or not, unless you're paying attention to its shields. You won't get any shield flares or anything. I will demonstrate on an NPC. Right now, you see that my particle limit is up just a little bit. If I go up and shoot at this, I'm not going to shoot at these in hyperspace. I'm going to shoot at this NPC. Shoot him. See how there's that little flare and he explodes? Okay. Now if I turn it all the way down, this is what happens. If I shoot him, not seeing the lasers go through these things. Okay? You definitely want it up a little bit so you're seeing when you're hitting stuff. The next options would be anti-aliasing and post-processing effects. Having these on will affect your game's performance. Please remember that this game is very, very old. Your graphics card is irrelevant. The amount of RAM you have is irrelevant, up to 4 gigabytes. It runs off of one core on your processor. I don't care how awesome your computer is, having a lot of things on in this game, having your graphics up, is going to affect your performance. I can actually play with these on, but I just recently turned them off because I really don't need them. This game's old, and it does not make it any much more cooler than having a little bit of prettier looking lighting. Field of view is the next one. Changing this will affect your, field of view. Field of view, a lot of pods that have up quite a bit. Some of them don't like the fisheye effect that you have. It helps you see more around you, as you can tell. Static object level of detail is another important one. It'll affect the details being rendered on objects. Nebula density is another one. This will really, really hurt your especially if you don't have space lightning mod turned off. A mod will bring you lightning in these nebulas sometimes. There's a mod you can turn it off. Next, there is interface. We have camera elasticity. As you can see right now, my ship is staying straight. My reticle is staying still. I only have to shoot what's in front of me. Turn it up. Now my ship's moving around. My reticle is moving around. It makes it harder to aim because you have to calculate more angles. Having this off will affect your aim. Having it on will affect your aim. It's a personal preference. Most pilots have it off. Targeting cursor aid. If we show it, you'll see a purple ring that appears on my screen, right? If I fly out over here and I flip my ass around, see all them objects over there? When I hit target next and previous on the reticle, it will cycle through all the stuff inside that ring. If I turn it all the way down, it gets very precise. I like mine up here somewhere, because I like to be able to target anything like when you're in like a turn fight. You know, it helps to be able to target it when it's like way over here turning on you, you know what I'm saying? Next place we will go is controls. You have the game mouse, dead zone. If you play with a mouse, as you can see, I will turn this to virtual joystick to use the mouse to turn and stuff. Then I will go ahead and turn up game mouse dead zone. As you can see, there's this cursor that appears. It can only move to the edges of that green rectangle that I have made on there, right? Let's go back and turn this off. So if you have it all the way down, now and there. So it's really how far you have to move your mouse to get a full turn. Having it turned up will help you be more precise in your turning. You do not always have to make a full turn or pull back all the way in order to get your full turn that you need. Sometimes you need to make more precise, fine turns in order to get the hits you need. Turn that off. Go back to cockpit camera for my joystick. There we go. The next option will be blah blah blah. Automatic ship leveling. You want this off. It will cause your ship to roll all by itself to level with other stuff. I don't know exactly what will like trigger it when it's on, but I've had it on accident and it's really annoying. You want that shit off. Gimbal correction. This is only for turret gunners. Having it on will compensate for the movement of the ship. Having it off, it will keep your turrets pointed in the direction it is pointed. Joystick dead zone. You want this and nothing, okay? You play with a joystick, you want the least amount of dead zone possible. The only reason you would turn it up is if your joystick is kind of ghosting when you're leaving it by itself and you get like a little bit of drift. Then you'll want to turn it up a little bit till it goes away. I have it completely set to 0, and in my own joystick software, I have all of my curves set up and my dead zone set up. See how it's very slight? It's like 1% dead zone. And that's for my twist rudder. That's a whole different can of worms right there. I got these curves from a formation flyer in DCS. I will, if you cannot use joystick software to set up your own curves, I would recommend in-game probably having this set just a little bit up, like barely anything at all. Just so you have that little bit of room in the center for, you know, when you want to twist or make a turn that you're not overdoing it with another axis. It'll keep you a little bit more accurate, but not like so drastic that you have to move your joystick a bunch in order to get that movement you want. If you have it too high, you're going to have to move your joystick too much to get a full turn. Here, I'll show you. Right now, I'm just holding my joystick in one spot, right? The higher up I set this, maybe that's too much. Alright, so there we go. See, I'm holding it right here, right? If I turn it up, now it's not moving. I gotta move my joystick way more to get that turn in. And then that's gonna decrease the amount of turn required once you get into it, so it'll make it more sensitive too. So you kind of want to have the least amount of dead zone possible in order to prevent oscillation. When you make a whip and you overcorrect, that way when you try to correct it, you don't like go back and forth and back and forth. You want to be able to be more precise with your turning, so you're not oscillating. Next option, recenter cockpit automatically. You want this on, otherwise this will happen. You go to look to your side, and now you're going to get back into combat. Now you have to actually manually recenter your cockpit. If you have this on, it'll do it the second you move your ship. Camera vertical offset. This will affect where your camera is, where your ship is in relation to the reticle. I like mine at 2.2. My favorite spot. Cockpit camera zoom multiplier is the third person thing as well, just like the camera elasticity. You probably want this all the way up if you play third person. Cockpit camera default pitch offset. This is how much your pitch is. I have mine all the way up. Turret camera pitch offset, you could modify that while you're in a turret. Miscellaneous. Screen shake. You want this shit off. This is what happens when it's on. Hit your booster, and now your ship has a seat. You want that off. And then, of course, in here you have show cockpit pilot frame for single pilot ships. It'll remove, take away the cockpit. Here in the keybinds, there's a couple of things you want to worry about. The first thing is probably this button here, camera target unlock. This will snap your camera to whatever you're targeting. Very, very helpful. Another thing is your countermeasures and your ordnance should be right by each other. I kind of like have it so I can push them both with the same finger at the same time. Like I can hold down my missiles and then chaff at the same time. So my missiles is my bottom of my thumb, and the tip of my thumb is my countermeasures. It's always a good tip. Another thing will be, holy crap. Another thing will be like the weapon groups. Hold on, fix that. Yeah, let's do that. All right. Your weapon groups, you can look at them by pressing G. You can set up macros for them to do it by itself. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go land, and I'm going to put missiles in and show you something. But basically what this does is right now my guns are unlinked. 1, 2, 2, right? If I do this, now they're both shooting at the same time. Okay? Now, when you start getting into multi-tube ships with missiles, it can get kind of funky. I'm going to show you what happens. What you do, you put 2 missiles in a ship. Go ahead and drop these IRs in here. It's being a piece of junk. There we go. I was clicking the freaking ammo like an idiot. Alright, IRs are in there. Okay. Notice I loaded my missiles and you don't see them yet. Oh my, what happened? Well, reset the defaults. There's my missiles. Now, if you have them unlinked, it can make it really, really hard to fire them. It just won't come out sometimes. Let's see if I can demonstrate on a Merc Freighter. You fire missiles, you just hold it in until they can come out, right? See how they're not coming out? I'm just holding it in, they're not coming out. I probably have a lock too, because they're not bound. I'm using fire and cycle current ordnance group in the key map. Doesn't work. So if I go in the bindings, bind them, now it should work. See? Now if you don't use that bind and you're trying to fire missiles one at a time and not have them linked, you will have to use the separate weapon group toggles. So like right now by default it's 3 and 4 for my missiles. You would have to use them separately. Here, watch, I'll show you. There's 1, there's 2. See that? Now the next funny thing that'll happen is if you decide to take your missiles out of your ship and then go back up and fly it. So I'm going to go ahead and pop. I'm going to land, take the missiles out, and you're going to see what happens. It's kind of a bug. I'm going to run on up over here. I'm going to go up on over here, take out my missiles. Launch. Now watch what happens. Oh, it didn't do it. Interesting. So, if you have... I can't believe it just did that. That was very fascinating. Alright, let's land again and try this one more time. I'm guessing it doesn't always happen, but it can sometimes happen. I'm going to try to force it for you. Let's put them back on. piece of junk. Alright, let's do this. Do that. Okay, missiles are in. Also out. Maybe that's effective. Alright, take them out. Let's see if it does it now. Alright, there we go. Alright, so as you can see, my ship still thinks I have missiles in a weapon group, and I don't. What will happen, it will try to cycle over it. So see how I have my gun split right now? 1, 2, 3, nothing fired, because it's trying to select weapon group 3. 1, 2, nothing fired. It's trying to select weapon group 3. To fix that, all I gotta do is reset the defaults, and it'll fix it. There's also macros that you can use that will prevent you from even having to go on this page. You can use them in mid-combat. We'll go ahead and show you some. What you will want to do is you want to bind the guns in one macro. This is for the B-Wing, just as an example. It's using weapon group 0 and then your weapon. So this is weapon 2, 3, and 4. Weapon group 1. Then you're removing them from the group they're originally in, so this will automatically switch them. When you're in a bomber and you have double tubes, you're going to want to, when you have your ship weapon group default macro, you're going to want to bind the missiles in that macro, so you have them binding inside of all the time. That way you switch your defaults, they're bound, and then you switch back to binding your guns, they're still bound. So that's how that works. And I believe that takes care of everything. The last attempt at this video, I think I did it quick and fast and explained everything that needed to be explained. If I did miss anything, let me know. I will go ahead and remake the video again.